everybody. This is my Ouija series part 2. Um, Going over the 14 rules that they say you have to go by to play with the Ouija, which I wouldn't call it play, but safely. They say rule number 1 is to never play it alone. Well, I've played it alone 100 or more times. And to be honest, it's the only way you can be sure that the other person you're playing with is not pushing the planchette, is if you are doing it alone. I've never had any problems with that. Number 2 was never play it when you're depressed. Well, I guess I can kind of see that one because when you're depressed, it's real easy to convince yourself that it's saying what you want to hear, that that's the one thing that's going to tell you the truth and that's your friend, etc. And therefore, it would set you up to become addicted to playing it and become obsessed with it, which is also rule number 10 in here, is not to do that, which that one I'm going to agree with. I'm also going to agree with number 2. It's probably better not to when you're depressed. Number 3 is to have everything blessed by a priest. Okay, you can bless it yourself. My feelings about the priests and the Roman Catholic Church, everything they do does not, it's not any better than anything anybody else does. I mean, they've got a long history of corruption, etc. Not all of them, of course, but the church in general knows about it and doesn't do anything about it. So therefore, I feel like they're complicit. I would rather bless it myself and know that my intentions are pure. And there are things that you can do. You can burn sage. You can burn sweetgrass and waft it all through your house. You can ring a bell. You can take salt water and a little sprig of mistletoe and, asperge your house yourself. So you can take care of that. The sage is usually enough to get rid of any negative vibrations. Okay, and don't treat it like a game. Yeah. I know I say play it, but it's really not a game. It is a tool for necromancy. So no, I wouldn't treat it like a game. And yes, you can make the spirits very angry if they think you're just playing and laughing about it. Depending, of course, on the spirit you get. And then it starts to get a little ridiculous with don't let it count down through the letters and the numbers. Because if you do, it's allowed to come into our world. Wrong. In the first place, if it's already making a silly, that's why you have to keep control of the board and the planchette. If it starts doing crazy stuff like that, you just pull it back to the center and say, okay, let's start that one over. But going through the letters and the numbers is not going to open up a magical doorway to this world that didn't exist before. Think about that one and you'll see what I'm saying. That's just one of those stupid legends that they put out there trying to scare people. The other one, don't let it go to the 4 corners of the board. If it does, that means it's an evil spirit. It could be an evil spirit and be talking to you just as nice and sweet because it wants you to keep talking to it. Going to the 4 corners of the board has absolutely nothing to do with it, and that is not an indication of anything. If you let it spell Zozo 24 times, all of a sudden you open up a doorway. Bullshit. If you let it do the figure eight while it's trying to talk to you, that means it can get into our world and is evil. And no, that's bullshit too. Always remember to close it. Absolutely. Always remember to say thank you very much, goodbye, and close the board. And if you do like I do and you put, I imagine a white light, almost like a fluorescent tube surrounding me and whoever else is with me while I'm using it. So you have to remember to retract that afterwards also. Um, and number 10, we've already gone over. Number 11, never trust the spirits. Well, I already explained this one earlier. Um, just because they're dead doesn't make them wonderful. They can and will lie to you. Probably that's how they get their kicks. And you know what? I mean, they don't have YouTube. They don't have TV. They have to get their kicks where they can. So, you know. All right. And never burn a Ouija board. It will scream and possess you. And bullshit. Bullshit. It's cardboard. It'll burn just like any other piece of cardboard. Bullshit. And if it's wood, so what? It'll burn like any other piece of wood. Just because it has letters carved into it doesn't make it all of a sudden defy all the laws of physics. No. Okay. The proper way is to break it, pour holy water all over it, and bury it. Well, yeah, you can do that too if you want to, but it doesn't mean that you can't burn it. Um, and then number 14, and the last rule, is never ask it about God or when you will die. Well, first of all, why would you ask it when you would die? Who wants to know that shit, you know? As far as asking it about God, I don't see why you couldn't. If it's an evil spirit, it's not going to want to talk about that. If it's a good spirit, I can't imagine why it would have any problems. Or at least that's also the point that the person who has made the rules had made the point to say, and I really agree with him on that. I don't see any reason why you can't discuss God. But if you're not comfortable, then don't. Now, there was one other rule that I heard from some friends of mine that I had never heard before, and that was that if you want to get the truth out of a Ouija board, you have to play with it on top of a Bible. Now, to me, I would think that would be a little sacrilegious, but I guess not. I mean, I guess they felt, the Bible would protect or whatever. But you have to remember what it ultimately all comes down to is the strength of your spirit and the fact that you're not going to let them push you around or take control of anything. Just because you're talking to them doesn't give them any rights over you. You are still in charge. So anyway, hopefully, if you guys want to try it and you do try it, hopefully I've helped just a little bit. Ouija can be played or used safely. And, you might get a kick out of doing it on Halloween or something. But yeah, so there you go. And if you guys have any questions, just pop them down in the comments. And if you're not yet a subscriber, then please subscribe. And y'all have a good night.